In this video, we're going to talk about real zeros and degree of polynomials. And we're also going to talk about multiplicity of the real zeros. In the first example, we have p of x is equal to x plus 8 cubed times x minus 6 squared. So here, if we want to know the degree of the polynomial, we have to think about if we were to multiply all this out, what would be the largest degree of x? And here we have x cubed, and then we'd have x squared, and x cubed times x squared is x to the fifth. So we have a fifth degree polynomial. And then if we want to know the real zeros, we look at which values of x would make this function equal to 0, and negative 8 and 6 would both make our function equal to 0. So we have negative 8 and 6. And now the multiplicity is how many times that negative 8 would make this 0 if we wrote it out in linear terms. So we'd have x plus 8 times x plus 8 times x plus 8. So negative 8 is a multiplicity of 3. And 6 is a multiplicity of 2. So the degree of the polynomial is the largest degree that the independent variable takes on. And then our real zeros are what values make the function equal to 0. And then we talked about multiplicity, how many times each of those, if they are written out linearly, can happen. In the second example, we have p of x is equal to 6x squared times 5x minus 4 times 3x plus 2. So here we have an x squared, and then we have two linear factors. So our degree, this is a fourth degree polynomial. And then our real zeros are, now here in the first factor, we have 6x squared, so 0 would be a real 0, and 0 has multiplicity of 2. And then we have 5x minus 4, and if we set that equal to 0, we add 4 to both sides, divide by 5, and we get x is equal to 4/5. So 4/5 is a real 0, and it has multiplicity of 1. And then the last factor is 3x plus 2. If we set that equal to 0, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. And now we're going to divide by 3, so x is equal to negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 has a multiplicity of 1 as well. In our last example, it says find a polynomial with zeros of 3 with a multiplicity of 2 and 4. So what we need to do is I'm going to write f of x is equal to, now if one of the real zeros is 3, then we know that x minus 3 is a factor, and it tells us that there's a multiplicity of 2. So we have x minus 3 squared, and then 4 is also a 0, so we have x minus 4 as well. And if we want to multiply this out, the first thing I would do is multiply out our perfect square, x minus 3 squared, which is x squared minus 6x plus 9, and then multiply times x minus 4. So here we have x cubed minus 4x squared minus 6x squared plus 24x plus 9x minus 36. And now we're going to combine our like terms. So we have x cubed minus 10x squared plus 33x minus 36. And that's all for this video on polynomials, the real zeros, and the degrees.